seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. On the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Here with Melody Smith and Shannon Roberta San Antonio. Follow her on Instagram. Make soup and be encouraged.
You should.
Yeah. Today we're talking about what happened after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. In the first segment, we talked about free speech. Now we're going to talk about the other part of the First Amendment that says the government shall make no official religion. What is that about?
Yeah, they're supposed to stay in their lane.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Right.
So that's also in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
And why are we bringing this up? Because of Charlie Kirk's massive memorial service on Sunday, September 21st in Arizona. Melody, what did you watch it?
I've seen clips. I did not watch the whole thing. I heard it was long. Was it 5 hours?
It was all day.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Can you imagine showing up for church and then it just doesn't end until dinner time?
Yeah. Did they serve a meal in between? Did they have an intermission?
I don't know. It was at the stadium. I was wondering if they had concessions.
I imagine they did.
Okay, so you saw clips, and tell me your initial thoughts or reaction to that.
It was very interesting. Going back to the First Amendment, the separation of church and state, when I was taught that, I can think back all the way to elementary school. It was taught to me, or at least the way I remembered it, is that the idea behind that is so that a certain religion doesn't become too powerful in government and then impose that religious view onto its citizens. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, the separation is really important, but I think its intention was more to keep the government out of our church.
Also, yes.
Right. And I personally just think that's really important. I think the memorial service, from what I saw, was a very interesting, possibly disturbing blend of the American Christian church and politics. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we could go deeper into that.
I loved it. I would have gone to that service and stayed all day. I mean, it was just really cool to see everybody talking about Jesus. I mean, I didn't watch every single speaker, but the ones that I did see, I mean, everybody was proclaiming God's name and God's word. So isn't that a good thing, Shannon?
I could sign on that that's a good thing, but when you go a step further and you say our political party is affiliated with God, I mean, that's what we fled from because we had a king in England.
Right, there was the Church of England.
And if you went against the king, you were going against deity because God had put that king there.
Right.
So I just would hate to see the blurring of lines where the Republican part or conservative values would be intertwined, because then you're not voting anymore. You're worshiping. Mm-hmm. So if your vote is for something that has like a godlike status, then you've created an idol.
That's interesting. Well, let me just recap who was actually there for people that didn't see it. President Trump was there, Vice President JD Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. There was a lot of government officials there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can see.
I did see Marco Rubio's portion, and he proclaimed the gospel, and I think he articulated it very well. Mm-hmm. So I really agree. I liked that, and it's great to see that on a national stage. And then, I don't know if it was earlier or later in the service, then we had the president come on and give a campaign speech, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think what was unsettling for me is just this blend of the two. It's what was this? Was this a religious worship service? Was this a memorial service? Was this a campaign rally? I've heard people say in favor of it that it was kind of a blend between the two, and they kind of enjoyed that. And that's okay too. I think for me it felt unsettling.
Yeah. Because if you're a conservative, those are your heroes over there. Yeah. Go get them. Yeah, we're winning. And then also Jesus. Yeah. Praise Jesus. So you kind of get both sides of it. But if the tables were turned and there were a different political party
Right.
and there was a different religion, then I would be like, I'm not going to watch that.
Right.
Right, yeah.
That's a conversation I've had in so many Bible studies and talking to my Christian friends. This is all great, this thing you have in your head where you want a Christian leader, but what if the majority was Muslim? Would you be
Right.
so happy? And then me in that crowd, I think I would have felt more like you, Melody, a little unsettled, very unsettled actually, and I'd wonder where my Jewish husband would fit in. Is there room for him in this world, in this utopian world? Or my very good atheist friend, will he be protected? Will he feel safe? But I'd really love to hear more why can you get more to the root of that? Because I know you love the Constitution, I know you love our history, I know you love this country, but you had great feelings sitting there seeing this blend of your faith with your politics.
Yeah. Well, I think that I said it. Maybe I didn't articulate it clear enough.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I want to move.
I probably didn't listen.
I want to move on to a question for you, Melody. Isn't it sort of natural for somebody that wants to serve Christ to also serve people and maybe even become a public servant?
I see nothing wrong with that. I think that whatever we do in our career path, if as a Christian, you're a Christian first, and that's our identity, that's who we are, and you should take that into any profession, even if it's public service, especially. I think though that we don't have a Christian political party in America. I think we have two main political parties, and both have some Christian ideals, but there isn't one perfect Christian party. And I'm certain that Christians who vote Republican feel that that's the better platform for Christians to vote for. But that doesn't mean that it's a Christian organization. It's a secular organization. And if you look at the Republican Party doesn't have necessarily a mission statement, but they have their party platforms and their goals, and they're perfectly fine. Just as the Democratic Party has their platform and their goals, but nowhere on there is it share the gospel with the world. It's not a Christian organization.
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
So that's where I think blending the two, we can't conflate being conservative Republican or being a Christian, like a nationalist, with being Christian. I think it's very much two separate things. If we want to merge our church with a secular organization, it just becomes impure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us the Bible verse that led you to that idea.
Was it 2 Timothy 2, verse 4?
Right.
Do you have it in front of you?
I do. No soldier gets entangled in civilian pursuits to please his commanding officer.
His goal is to please the one who sent him, the one who enlisted him, right? And so we're Christian soldiers. Our first priority has to be to please God who enlisted us as soldiers. And so I just thought that was interesting. It says no soldier gets involved. Does it say?
He does that to me too.
I was reading a summary of it, so
Okay.
it's not the exact text.
Entangled. It says no soldier gets entangled in civilian pursuits. I just thought that was interesting Bible verse.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I think that's why when JFK was running for president, there was some concern that he should not be elected because he was Catholic. And they didn't want him to make a decision based on his faith instead of based on what was good for the country.
Right. You weren't born yet, but they thought that the Pope could just call him. It would be like electing the Pope.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I disagree. I think that Christians, if we're doing it right, we should be very good leaders in our community, right? Who was the best leader of all time? Jesus.
Right.
And why was he such a good leader? Because he served. He served everybody. He served the needy.
Roman soldiers.
He served. Yes, that was his mission. And so by doing that, he was the greatest leader ever. So I think good Christians should stand up and be leaders.
Yeah. Well, this is a really important topic because Shannon has been hearing or reading some stuff about Christian nationalism, which I don't think is real because there's no Christian national party.
Right.
And so who gets to define whether you're a Christian nationalist or not unless you proclaim that you are? And so there's a fear about Christian nationalism, but I don't know how it's defined, and I don't know what the fear is.
The fear is that the erosion between church and state, so that we would lose that protection.
Right.
And so the fear would be that everything is Christian, so I guess Christians would say, yay, well, why is that not a good thing? Well, because then other people are discriminated against. They would not feel safe. We just, as a history, as humans, we can't have one particular viewpoint in control and have the majority and get to dictate everything and not have discrimination. It just doesn't work that way.
Right. Our
So-
whole system of government is set up. The
Exactly.
federalism is set up to protect the minority. We got to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk about sinners, saints, and legacy. So stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.